I call Jonathan Young.
Mr Speaker, I'm very pleased to stand and speak on the Sentencing Protection of Children from Criminal Offending Amendment Bill. And can I just say that in terms of my regard to Asanati Lole Taylor, who brought this bill to the House, who was a member in the last Parliament, send my greetings to her. I felt was a good contributor to this House. Obviously somebody who, as a former corrections officer, understood some of the issues that face our communities, even as you do, sir, as Speaker of the House, Deputy Speaker, formerly a detective sergeant and a solicitor of the court. You are very much aware of the issues that our communities face around law breaking and particularly the issues around vulnerability about people. So, though we understand that this bill would not actually stop people doing those heinous thoughts, those heinous deeds to young people. In fact, I can't think of anybody in our society as low as somebody who would do something dangerous, not only for the community, such as manufacturing pea, but do it at the threat of the lives and obviously also the influence to young people. And so we need to be people who see the future for our young people. Unlike those sorts of people who all they care about is money, all they care about is what they gain and not the pain they cause. But so this bill doesn't really address the issue by making the fact of doing something like this in the presence of a child an aggravating offence, because those people do not respect the law. They will do it anyway. There are issues that we understand around aggravating offences, particularly when people would attack our first responders, our police, our ambulance drivers, who, because of their commitment to the safety of others, go into situations and don't have the option or opportunity to withdraw from a difficult, threatening situation. They are, by obligation of their job and their commitment to our community, to go into unsafe situations. And so in those cases where somebody would attack a police officer or an ambulance driver, you can understand why we would make that an aggravating offence. But these lowlifes who do this other sort of work, I don't know whether anything can change them and what they need to do, or what that needs to happen to them. They need to be apprehended by the police, and they need to go through the courts of this land, and they need to be have the sentences put upon them that would stop them having that sort of activity, behaviour, that lifestyle, and certainly that negative influence not only upon the health and well-being of young children, but also the influence upon them. Because what happens is that kids look at the adults around them and they see that as the norm. They see that as acceptable behaviour. So we need to put a stop to that. We need to have a vision for the future of our young people. So I'm very pleased to say that I come from a region that does exactly have that. You know, we have a great organisation called Taranaki Futures. This is made up of people in our community who actually care for their young people, who actually see that they have a future and they want to nurture them, help them, enable them to become the very best that they can be in their life, and that they can have some future to look forward to. These people that we are talking about in this bill have none of that. They have none of that. So one of the things that I believe that we need to also have confidence in is our judiciary. Because I am sure, and we know by case law, that men and women who sit in the courts of this land, when they come across cases like this, does the fact that people do a crime in front of a child, whether that's the manufacture of pea or any other whatever it might be. Do those judges take that into consideration? Of course they do. Of course, because they know that these kids, these young children are vulnerable. As I said before, they are vulnerable to influence and they're vulnerable to harm. They are defenceless in many situations. And so what we need to understand is that our judges, men and women of our courts, they are understanding, rational, intelligent people who actually don't need this parliament to tell them that a crime done in the presence of a child is a bad thing. It's a worse thing. They know that already, and case law shows that they are giving sentences accordingly. One of the things, sir, that I think is really important is that when it comes to law and order and crime, and when it comes to safety in our community, that we need to ensure that the men and women, the young and the old who enter our corrections facilities actually have their behaviour changed. I'm pleased to say, sir, that this government has put into place educational programs, individual learning plans for every person who goes into prison. So that's a great step forward. The number of prisoners gaining qualifications has increased by 830%, up from 197 in 2008 and 9 to 1,833 in 2012-13. What I can't understand when I read figures like that, I can't understand how the previous government, with all of their 9 years of surplus, all 9 years of surplus, Mr Davis, 9 years of skiting, that we've got money in the bank, never did anything in this space. I can't understand. We have almost 3,000 prisoners starting literacy and numeracy programs in the 2013-14 financial year, up 155% compared to 2007 and 8. And now this is the important thing, because this is coming back to the bill. We have an almost 1,500% increase of places on drug and alcohol treatment programs for prisoners since 2008. 1,500% increase since 2008. I don't know what they were doing. I do not know what they were doing for all those years. You know, the party that cares. How come when we came into office, we lift all these programs, especially rehabilitation around drugs? Because, you know, the people who are out there creating drugs, making drugs, are people who live in a drug culture. And so this bill is saying that that drug culture is destructive for those individuals, those kids, the people they sell drugs to. But what are they doing about it? What we are doing about it is that we have increased the number of places by 1,500%. So that people who end up in our corrections facilities have drug rehabilitation, drug and alcohol rehabilitation, to get off it, to pull their lives together, to have a fresh start, to be able to come out of a corrections facility with skill training so they can go out and get a job, get an apprenticeship, get something that's going to give them another source of income than making this destructive stuff. So, you know, we can bleat on about things as people do, but we as a party are doing something about it. And we are being pragmatic and being proactive. We are changing the culture of this society by the things that we do, sir. And I believe, sir, it's not just a matter of creating a law that punishes, but it's creating an opportunity that changes. And this is what we're doing. Thank you.